Super excited today to be up at Meyer Bees just south of Chicago. Actually, I found them on Facebook and had been communicating with them to get some bee information and found out that they have a showroom and a shop. So we're going to take a tour of that along with the apiary. I've got Cathy and Dave with me from Meyer Bees. Guys, thank you very much for allowing us in today.
Yep. Thank you.
So, are there places like this throughout the country? This is the first actual bee shop I've ever been in. I've been in homesteading shops and farm stores that have a section of bee stuff, but I've never seen anything like this.
There's a few of them around that we're aware of, but like you said, it's usually the farm and fleets and those types of things that have just a small section in their stores, where we have just about everything you could imagine, available here. Everything from woodenware, clothing, tools, glassware, treatments, feed items, queen rearing supplies, and plus bees, of course. Probably about 25 years ago, when we actually lived in Joliet, I had started looking into it and thought it was, something I would be interested in pursuing. But at the time, the property just didn't support it, and the neighbors wouldn't support it. So when we moved out here about 20 years ago, kind of got established, and then realized that, hey, I can do the bees now because we've got the space to do it. So, started out with a few colonies and grew those to a few more colonies, a few more, and then we are where we are now.
Self-taught, or did you have to?
No, yeah, I did a lot of reading, took a lot of classes, a lot of videos, so there's a lot of research that went into this, and then went back to school, went for my certified master beekeeper,
really?
Accreditation, and so.
That's fantastic. And tough sell, Cathy, or were you on board from the moment he came in with this great idea?
I was on board with like 2 to 4 colonies. And then,
and how many do you have now?
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
Wow.
Hundreds. So I'm on board now. It's just it's grown from a hobby to now it's almost a full-time.
Right, and
full-time gig.
I think on the phone you told me that you had 100 people here this weekend.
Oh, for picking up bees, correct? Yeah.
That had to be crazy. So when you have this idea, years ago to start this business, and then all of a sudden now, down the road you've got 100 people coming through here on a weekend. That has to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we have to space them out because we can only fit so many people through here in a given day. So we have multiple pickup days, just because I can only bring safely back so many bees at a time, and prep the property to get those bees out to customers. So every 2 weeks we do package pickups.
That had to be crazy. And then during the week, are you open, or can people order from you online? How do people find you?
Yeah, we're open 7 days a week, usually 10 to 6. But with the virus, going on right now, we always ask that people call first, just to make sure that we don't want to get too many people in the showroom at once. Right. So, but parts, we have a web page. It doesn't have a shopping cart for all the parts, so that's more or less you call us up and we'll pull your order and then put it together for you and then shoot you an invoice.
And what's the web page?
It's MeyerBees.com. It's MEYER Bees.com.
And then the Facebook page was just Meyer Bees, right?
Bees Meyer.
Bees Meyer?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys do a great job of putting stuff out there. That's where I found you. Now, I'm still very, very new on my beekeeping journey. Some of this stuff I recognize, some I don't. This is not, so this would be for kids or schools or for people who want to watch.
Yes.
This can't be the whole thing. Do you just put a couple frames in here, or is this a self-contained hive?
It's what you would call, there's a nuke box on the bottom, so it holds 5 frames. So you could theoretically run a colony in there if you wanted to, but eventually they'd fill up all the space and run out of room. So it's more for, like you said, the demonstration purposes. But you can open the side opening there. There's a little door right on the side of it to let them forage. Yep, right there. And it's ventilated on the bottom, so they're not going to overheat. There's a queen excluder built into the top section there. So if you put the queen up in the top for visual purposes, she can't get back down into the bottom, so she'll stay on display, for the kids to see.
Oh my goodness, that's got to be so cool. There are a lot of classrooms and people that order this and teachers.
Yeah.
I got to believe it's fascinating. What's this metal?
That is a transport box for your smoker. So one of the biggest things is you've got this burning, fuel inside of the smoker, and sometimes you think it's out and it's not. So you put it in the metal box, close it up, it snuffs the fire out and keeps it safe.
I have to believe something like that was invented because somebody started their car on fire or something by going in.
Yep.
So you've got the burlap, you've got the, are these pellets?
Yeah, that's actually recycled coffee chaff.
Is it really?
Yeah, yep.
Have you used it before? How does it work?
Pretty good, pretty good. There's no smell of coffee or anything like that to it, but it burns well. So.
What's your go-to? What's your favorite thing to put in the smoker? Do you say works the best, most efficient, most affordable?
We've been using a combination of the quick start pellet. So right on the end there, it's a quick start pellet. You can light that with a match or a lighter. They burn about 5 minutes really hot, so you use that to start your main fuel. And we've been using the burlap, honestly. It's been working pretty good for us.
And do you use just one of these pellets?
One pellet.
And that's it?
Yeah, and you can get away with just that pellet. It burns for about 5 minutes, produces a fair amount of smoke. So if you just have one colony, that quick start pellet would actually be enough to do an inspection.
Okay, here's something. My first beekeeper, who's the guy, his picture's on the box of the AZ Hive. Is there a face on there?
There is, yes.
Okay, he was my first beekeeping coach, and he came down and he taught me, and he had 20 of these hives all stacked up, and each one had a different design on it. He said to help the bees find, that's true?
Yeah, yeah. Either a design on the hive itself, maybe a different color on the hive itself. You can also use landmarks, so trees, rocks, to help the bees identify, which colony is theirs. Otherwise, you'll end up with drifting, where the bees, they kind of lose track of which colony is theirs, and they just go into a colony. And since usually those are the foragers, they're bringing in food. The guard bees are like, you're full of food. You're welcome to come in here and dump the load. Not a problem at all. So.
And then, does that bee ever recognize, or do the other bees ever recognize you're not part of this hive and then attack it, or does it dump it?
When they're carrying the food, yeah, no, they're allowed in.
So I've got 2 of those AZ hives that I painted gray because I had enough gray paint, and they're next to each other. Do I need to separate those, or do I need to put some pattern on it?
Yeah, pattern would be good.
Okay.
Yeah, could be an X or some variation.
Okay. This I'm very familiar with. We use this a lot. Each one has a different application. We use Honeybee Healthy, and I think I have all of these.
So we typically use the Honeybee Healthy to add the sugar syrup. There's a good smell to it for one. It also keeps the sugar syrup stable longer than if you did not have the additive in there. And the bees they love it. We can put a little drop of that outside and we'll have bees coming to that smell.
Okay, what's the top seller in here? What's the thing that, bees is...
Yeah, bees, queens. Queens, we sell a fair number of queens.
Sell a lot of queens.
A lot of queens, yeah.
It's actually really a little bit of everything. Right now, about this time of the season, we have a lot of new beekeepers. So it's a lot of clothing, a lot of gloves, a lot of full setups.
So with the clothing, I notice you don't carry any $15 bee suits, do you? Okay. No. That was the first bee suit I bought. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. If somebody comes in here and they're looking for a $15, how much are you trying to... Because you want to be honest with them. If you're going to get a $15 bee suit, you're going to get $15 worth of protection.
Right.
So, how much do you kind of steer them into, hey, I don't want you to go too far over your budget, but we'd love for you to do something safe.
We kind of get a feel for what they're comfortable with, because it's all about comfort. If you're not comfortable, back to the keep calm or the bees get angry, right? Because they read the pheromones from you. So if you're afraid, the bees already know that you're there because you're giving off that pheromone, right? So if they're comfortable with just wearing a flannel shirt or a long sleeve shirt and jeans, then a lot of people will get away with just a veil. Right? You just put the veil on, and that's really all that they're wearing. A veil, I do, yeah. So wear the veil, no gloves, get comfortable with the bees, working with the bees. You crush less bees with the gloves on. But then other people, they just completely suit me up, make sure that there's no chance of bees getting into me, and then they would go with the full-size suit. So,
is there something to mask my fear pheromone?
Yeah, I don't know.
So you just got to take it.
It's not lemongrass oil, though.
It's an attractant.
That's an attractant.
Accelerator to the attack. Well, awesome. I'd love to take a look at your AZ Hive because I think you've got the newer model, so I'd like to see if that differs from mine at all. Talk through the bees, if there's anything special in the transport, and then in me putting them in our hives, and then go take a look at the setup you've got out here.
Okay.